Awesome. What's up, my pre-calc people? In this video, we're going to go over the answers to the solving right triangle problems using trigonometry in the AP Precalculus Prerequisite Skills Worksheet. All right, let's dive right into tackling these problems right now. A pretty basic level knowledge of trigonometry is all you're going to need to be ready for AP Precalculus. All right, so we want to use the triangle below to identify each ratio. Hopefully you remember these ratios, pretty simple. So if we're going to start off with angle A, sine of angle A is opposite 7 over hypotenuse 25. Bingo, pretty easy. Cosine of angle A is going to be the adjacent 24 divided by the hypotenuse 25. And tangent of angle A is going to be the opposite 7 over the adjacent 24. Nice and easy. Now if we look at angle B, sine of angle B is going to be the opposite 24 over the hypotenuse 25. Cosine of angle B is going to be the adjacent 7 over the hypotenuse 25. And tangent of B is going to be the opposite 24 over the adjacent 7. Pretty easy. All you got to do is remember that and you'll be ready to go for AP Precalculus when it comes to Unit 3 on trigonometry. All right, now we want to remember how to calculate what angle B is. You can actually use any of these values to find angle B, but we'll go ahead and just use sine. So we have sine of angle B equals 24 over 25. So we want to pull the old switcheroo or use the inverse. That's going to be an inverse sine of the 24 over 25 is going to equal angle B. Now, when you figure out this value, you want to go to your calculator. Make sure you're in degree mode since we are using a calculator. I'll be honest, in AP Pre-Calc, we don't use degrees at all. We use radians. But for right now, for this prerequisite stuff, understanding degrees is okay. So go ahead and grab your calculator, type in sine inverse of 24 over 25 to get approximately 73.740 degrees. 73.740 degrees. Nice and easy, not too bad. And if you know angle B, you can easily find angle A because the three angles of a right triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. All right, nice and simple. All right, let's do a word problem real quick that you should be familiar with as well. A piece of wood is leaning up against a wall. The angle formed by the floor and the piece of wood is 72 degrees. So let's draw a quick picture. There's my floor. There's my wall, and here comes my ladder. All right, now, we are told that the angle formed by the ladder and the floor is 72 degrees, so there is that angle. And we know that the distance between the base of the wall and the bottom of the piece of wood is 2.5 feet. So there's the 2.5 feet right there. And it wants us to know how long the piece of wood is. We're looking for X right here, the length of that piece of wood. All right, so what two values do we know? Well, based on that 72 degrees, we know the adjacent and we're looking for the hypotenuse. That's going to, of course, be cosine. So cosine of 72 degrees is the adjacent 2.5 divided by the hypotenuse x. Now the opposite side is not given to me, nor is it asked, so I don't want to use tangent or sine, which both involve that opposite side. All right, now we want to solve for x. Just understand that cosine of 72 degrees is a value that your calculator can get for you as long as you're in degree mode. So we're going to first multiply the x over, so we get x times cosine of 72 degrees equals 2.5. And then all we got to do to solve is to divide both sides by cosine of 72 degrees. So we get 2.5 divided by cosine of 72 degrees. Grab a calculator, type that in. Shouldn't be too difficult, and you should get approximately 8.090 feet. And that is the length of the piece of wood. Actually, yeah, that rounded correctly, 0.090. All right, that's it. Hopefully that's pretty simple. But again, you don't have to have this big, huge background for trigonometry to do well in AP Precalculus. Understand the basics that I did in these couple problems is all you need.